everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you do not know me, my name is Hannah. I run Safe Haven Creations and I like to do tutorials and market vlogs, and today I will be showing you guys how to make this adorable little turtle. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, for this pattern you are going to need 2 colors of yarn of your choice. You're going to need a 7 and a 6mm crochet hook, scissors, a tapestry needle, some safety eyes, and stuffing. Okay guys, I did forget to mention you will also want a stitch marker. It helps keep track of where the end of your round is, and I lose my place frequently, so these are very helpful. We are going to be starting with our main color, our body color, so this will be used for the head and the fins and underneath of the shell. And we are also going to be using our 6mm crochet hook. And for the first round we are going to do a magic circle and then do 6 single crochets in that magic circle. If you cannot do a magic circle, you can do the chain 2 method, which is just chaining 2 and then doing your 6 single crochets back into that first chain you did. But I prefer doing the magic circle. And to do the magic circle, you are just going to loop the yarn around your fingers. I pinch down right here and I hold the yarn. You're going to go under this piece. You're going to grab that far one and bring it under, and then you're going to yarn over again and pull through the loop that you have on your hook. That is what I do for a magic circle. There are many different ways, and if you are using acrylic yarn, I like to wrap the yarn around my fingers twice and then do the magic circle. It helps secure it a little bit better. But once you get your magic circle, you are just going to do 6 single crochets into the magic circle. And a single crochet, you're just going to insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, and then pull through both of those. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to put my stitch marker on that last single crochet we did to mark the end of the round. Then you're going to grab this little tail right here and just pull your magic circle closed, just like that. For round 2, we are going to do 6 increases, and an increase is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. You're going to find your first stitch, and you're just going to single crochet 1, go back into that stitch, and single crochet another 1. And that is how you do an increase. So you should have 12 single crochets by the end of this round. So 2, once you have completed your 6 increases, remember to move your stitch marker up to mark the end of that round. For round 3, we are going to single crochet in our first stitch and then increase in the next one. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way around. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, all the way around for a total of 18 stitches at the end of the round. So we're going to go single crochet in the first stitch, move to the next one and do an increase, and then repeat that. Single crochet, increase, all the way around. Remember to move your stitch marker up at the end of the round. And for round 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase all the way around for a total of 24 stitches at the end of the round. So we're going to go 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then an increase. So for rounds 5 through 7, we are just going to single crochet all the way around. So 24 single crochets in each round for 3 rounds. Okay, you should be done with those 3 rounds. Yep. And now what we're going to do is add our safety eyes. Yeah. Okay. So we are going to put the eyes in between rounds 4 and 5, and you just estimate how far apart they go. It's all kind of preference. So we're going to go 3, 4, 5, and like to mess around with the head shape because I usually push in the eyes, so it looks a little bit different. It's more shaped. Okay, I think I actually like that. I think I got it on the first try. Let me move it down just to see. I think I liked it where I had it. Yep, okay. And then you're just going to put the backs to your safety eyes on. And if you are using these type of eyes, make sure that they are lined up right, because once you get the backs of them on, it's almost impossible to move. Okay. Sometimes I try to get that second click in there, but most of the time it will not let me. Okay. Now for rounds 8, we are going to do 2 single crochet and then a decrease, repeating that all the way around for a total of 18 single crochets left. So we're going to do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and a decrease. Now, so for a decrease, you're going to want to insert your hook into the middle of your stitch and try to get that first loop under your hook. So we're going to do it like this, just like that, and then we're going to go and do the exact same thing in the stitch next to it. So you're going to just push your hook through until you've got both those front loops on your hook. Then you're going to continue like you're doing a single crochet. So yarn over and pull through both of those loops, and then yarn over and pull through your last 2. We're just going to repeat that all the way around. So 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and a decrease. Remember, we're going into that front loop in the next 2 stitches. Okay, you should be ending the round off with a decrease. Okay, for round 9, we are going to do 1 single crochet and a decrease all the way around for a total of 12 stitches. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and a decrease all the way around. Okay, at the end of this round is when we are going to start adding stuffing to the head. I like to kind of shape the head a little bit as I'm stuffing. And you do not have to fill it all the way, just a little bit. For round 10, we are just going to repeat the steps that we did for round 9 and just single crochet and decrease all the way around for a total of 8 stitches at the end of your round. Okay, for this next round, what we're going to do is we're going to crochet the head closed. So I leave my stitch marker in there just so I can see where that last stitch is worked. And we're going to pinch the head closed like this. And we're going to do 4 single crochets to close this head. So what you're going to do is you're going to insert your hook into that next single crochet. And then you're going to insert it into the last one that you just did. That's where the stitch marker comes in handy so you can see exactly where that is. So your hook should be through 2 stitches through both sides. And you can take the stitch marker out at this point. And we're going to just do a single crochet. And we're single crocheting the head closed. So we're going to repeat that. We're going to go through both sides, the top and the bottom. So inserting through the bottom, going to that next stitch in front of it, single crochet. Just repeat that. And you should only have done 4 single crochets. And it does not matter if you leave a long yarn tail, just enough of a one so you can tie this off and then weave into the body. So we've got the head done. I usually take embroidery floss and give it a little smile right here, but I always wait until the end to do that. So we've got the head done. And now we're going to move on to the fins, and you're going to want to grab your 7mm crochet hook for this one. And we are still using the body color, the main color. And we're going to do a magic circle again. And again, if you do not like to do the magic circle, you can use the chain 2 method. But once you have your magic circle, we are going to do 8 single crochets inside of this magic circle. And remember to put your stitch marker into that last worked single crochet and pull your magic circle close. For round 2, we are going to do 8 increases, and remember, an increase is just 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Okay, for round 3, we are going to do a single crochet and an increase, repeating that all the way around for a total of 24 stitches. Okay, for the next round, for round 4, we are just going to single crochet all the way around, and that should be 24 single crochets all the way around. Okay, remember to move the stitch marker up when you're done. Now, for this next round, we're going to fold this in half, and we're going to work through both sides, just like what we did when closing off the head. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to single crochet into this first stitch, and we're going to chain 1, and this is where we start crocheting in both loops. So insert your hook back into that stitch you just worked in, and then push it through to the other side. You can take your stitch marker out at this point, and then just single crochet. Then we're going to single crochet all the way down, working through both sides at a time for a total of 12 stitches at the end of the round. So again, we're going to work through both sides and just single crochet. And we we are not going to stuff the fins at all, so make sure you do not stuff them. Okay, and then you are just going to cut off a small tail, just again like the head, just enough to weave in your ends. And you are going to repeat this 3 more times, so you should have 4 fins when you're done. Okay guys, once you get all 4 of your fins made, we're going to set these aside. And still using our 7mm crochet hook, you're going to grab your accent color for the shell. Now, for the shell, we're going to start off with our magic circle or chain 2, whichever method you are using. And then we're going to do 6 single crochets inside of your magic circle. 1, 2, 5, and 6. Remember to use your stitch marker. And then close your yarn magic circle. For round 2, we're going to just do 6 increases. Now remember, an increase is just 2 single crochets in the same stitch. You should have a total of 12 stitches at the end of your round. Okay, for round 3, we are going to just do a single crochet and then an increase, and then repeat that all the way around for a total of 18 stitches at the end. So our first stitch, we're going to single crochet, and we're going to do an increase, and then a single crochet, and another increase all the way around. Okay, for round 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase all the way around for a total of 24 stitches at the end of your round. Okay, and for round 5, we're going to do 3 single crochet and an increase all the way around for a total of 30. Okay, and for round 6, we're going to do 2 single crochet, 1 increase, and then we're going to alternate between 4 single crochets and then an increase till you have 2 stitches left, and then you're just going to do 2 single crochet. You should have 36 stitches at the end of your round. Okay, you should have just finished your last increase, and there should be 2 stitches left, and we're just going to single crochet in those last 2 stitches. Perfect. Now for rounds 7 to 9, we are just going to single crochet all the way around, and there should be 36 stitches in each round. Okay, so for round 10, we are going to turn our shell so the inside of the shell is facing me, and then we're going to go in all of the back loops, working in the back loops only. We are just going to single crochet around the entire round. Now remember, for a decrease, we are going in the front loops right here. We're going to be wanting to work in these back loops right there. You can see better on that stitch. So working in back loops only, we are just going to single crochet. And at this point, I usually just take my stitch marker out because I can clearly see where the beginning of this round is. Okay, now you are going to just cut a small tail, just like the fins, just enough to tie your ends off. will actually want to do that now. I've lost my, there it is, my tapestry needle. And you will have a slight gap in between the end of the beginning of the round. Just look for that beginning stitch, and I usually go right under it and I start to close that hole. Sometimes I will go down just a little bit further so I can get rid of that gap right there. Just like that. And then I'm gonna tie this off. Okay, now we're gonna crochet all the pieces on, and for this round we're going to be working in the unworked loops from round 10. So for round 10, remember, we crocheted in the back loops only, so now we're going to go back into that round and crochet in just the front loops. So once you get the slip knot on your crochet hook, you're going to insert your hook into that first loop of round 10, and we're going to do a slip stitch. This is just to join this color to the yarn. Now, working in this same stitch we just did the slip stitch in, we're going to do one single crochet. And right here, I like to add the stitch marker just so I know exactly what stitch is the beginning of the round. Once you do that, you're going to just do one more single crochet. And once you have finished that, we're going to grab the turtle's head, and you're going to figure out where the top of it is, whichever you want the top to be. So right here is where I want the top of my turtle head. I'm going to turn it away so it's looking the opposite direction, and flip it upside down. So the bottom of the head is facing upwards. And we're going to work into our 4 single crochets that we created right here. So you're going to go into that first stitch and then find the next stitch in the shell and just do one single crochet. And we're going to repeat that for the remaining 3 single crochets. So insert your hook into the next one and then find your next stitch in the body and single crochet. Ooh. Make sure not to drop your yarn like that, your loops. Okay, once you have the head crocheted into place, you're going to do 2 single crochets. And then you're going to grab one of your fins. So the fin, this round part should always be facing towards the head. So what we're going to do for this first fin, we're going to find the tip of the fin, the tip, that very top stitch, and then we're going to count back 3. So 1, 2, 3, insert your hook into that 3rd stitch, and then insert it into the shell, and single crochet. I'll do that for the remaining 2. Perfect. Now this is what your turtle should look like. If you tip it up facing right, it should be looking about like this right now. Once you get that fin crocheted into place, we're going to do 6 single crochets. So 1, 6. Once you've done those 6 single crochets, grab your next fin, and we are going to repeat the steps we did for the first fin. So make sure that round bit is facing towards the head. going to count back 3 stitches, insert your hook through the fin and the body, and do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. At this point, we are going to start working on its little tail. We're going to do 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then starting in that second chain from the hook, I'm going to do a slip stitch, and then slip stitch in that last chain. And then going back into the body, we are going to do our 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. Now we're going to work on the last fins. And for this side, for the right side of the turtle, instead of finding the top of your fin and then counting down 3, we're going to just start right into the tip. So insert your hook into the tip and the shell, and we're going to do 3 single crochets working down the fin. 2 and 3. Perfect. Now we're going to do 6 single crochets. Then grab your last fin and repeat the steps from our previous fin with this one. Find the tip of your fin and start working in that. Remember 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And at that point, you should be at the end of your round. There will be a slight gap between your last stitch and your first one, and you can just sew that gap closed if crocheting it doesn't help. So for round 2 of the body, we're going to do 4 single crochet and a decrease. You should be ending the round off in a decrease. Come on. There you go. For round 3, we're going to do 3 single crochet and a decrease all the way around for a total of 24 stitches at the end. So for round 4, we are going to do 2 single crochet and then a decrease all the way around for a total of 18. Okay, once you are done with this round, go ahead and start stuffing the inside of the shell. Okay, I think that is okay for the shell. Now for round 5, we are just going to single crochet and then decrease all the way around for a total of 12 stitches. And you are ending the round off with a decrease. Okay, Okay, and round 6, we're just going to do 6 decreases. And 6. You can take your stitch marker out at this point. It isn't really needed anymore. Okay, cut a decent sized tail, just enough to close up this hole, and then weave in your ends. I like to add just a little bit of stuffing to fill this little hole we've got here. Okay, and then when you've done that, grab your tapestry needle and then just sew this closed. To do a little knot so I know it doesn't come undone, and then you're gonna just weave in your end. You can feel around by the fins and the head and tail and see if there's any holes during that joining round, and I have a little one by the neck, which I usually end up having one in that area. I like to take this yarn tail and just come over here and quickly close it. You don't have to do this, but I like to, just to give it a little bit extra security, so I know it's not going to fall apart. I'm sure it's not going to, but it makes my brain happy. Okay, and remember to tie off your end. And I like to just pull it real tight real quick and then cut that tail. And then once it loosens everything back up, that tail disappears in the body. That way you don't have to think about stuffing it into the body. Okay, I personally like to quickly add a little bit of a face, little smile to it. So I'm going to take my black embroidery floss and just get a little bit of it, thread it through your tapestry needle, and find on the face where you want to put a smile. I usually put it right up here in between rounds 2 and 3. Just thread that back to that stitch you came in. Perfect, and that just gives it a little smile. Again, you don't have to do this, it's just all personal preference. And make sure not to tie this too tight, otherwise your smile will disappear into the body. Cut off the long ends, and I just take the tip of my scissors and just push that into the body, just like that. And now you have a cute little smile, and your turtle is all done. I hope you guys liked this tutorial, and I hope you give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see some more. And also leave a comment on a pattern you would like to see for a tutorial, and I will see about getting a tutorial made for that pattern. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a wonderful time making this adorable turtle. Bye.